Chapter 30, The Battle Unfolds. In the blistering heat of the lava lands, the Order of the Pug found themselves locked in a desperate struggle against a monstrous construct. Each member fought with unwavering determination, their every move a testament to their courage and resilience. The ground trembled beneath them as the construct unleashed a devastating barrage of attacks. Max, caught in the path of destruction, narrowly avoided being crushed as the construct's massive fist pounded into the earth where he had stood just moments before. With a deft roll, he evaded the blow, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Jet and Zeke fought side by side, their movements fluid and synchronized as they launched a relentless assault on the construct's towering form. Their strikes found their mark, weakening the creature with every blow. Meanwhile, Dave and Jack provided support from a distance, their ranged attacks keeping the construct off balance and unable to focus its attention on any single target for too long. Their coordinated efforts proved crucial, buying their comrades precious moments to regroup and strategize. But the construct was relentless, its sheer strength and resilience pushing the companions to their limits. With each passing moment, the battle grew more intense, the air thick with tension and the heat of their exertions. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of fierce combat, the construct faltered, its movements slowing as cracks appeared in its stony exterior. With a final, decisive blow, the companions brought the creature crashing to the ground, defeated but not destroyed. Breathless and battered, the Order of the Pug stood victorious over their fallen foe. As they caught their breath and surveyed the aftermath of the battle, Argo's keen eyes caught sight of something amidst the wreckage: a sturdy iron door, half hidden beneath the rubble. "It's the Bulldog's base!" Argo exclaimed, his voice ringing out with triumph and determination. "This is it, comrades. Our chance to put an end to King Ben's reign of terror once and for all." With renewed purpose, the members of the Order of the Pug rallied around Argo, ready to face whatever dangers awaited them within the confines of the Bulldog's lair. The time for action had come, and they were determined to seize the opportunity to bring peace and justice back to Pugland. Chapter 31, Breaching the Bulldog's Lair. With determination burning in their hearts, the Order of the Pug approached the sturdy iron door that stood as the barrier between them and King Ben's stronghold. A keypad glinted in the dim light beside the door, promising access to the secrets within. Argo stepped forward, his eyes narrowing as he studied the keypad. With a sense of urgency, he punched in a series of numbers, hoping to unlock the door with the correct code. But each attempt yielded only failure, the keypad remaining stubbornly unresponsive. Frustration mounted among the companions as their efforts proved fruitless. Time was of the essence, and they knew they couldn't afford to waste any more precious moments trying to crack the code. "We need to get in by force," Max declared, his voice resolute as he surveyed the door with determination. Agreeing with his sentiment, the companions prepared themselves for a more direct approach. But before they could make a move, a sudden outburst from Jack caught them all by surprise. Jack yelled, his frustration boiling over as he delivered a powerful punch to the keypad in a fit of desperation. To their astonishment, the door obediently slid open, granting them access to the dark tunnel beyond. "How did that work?" Zeke asked, his voice tinged with incredulity. But there was no time for answers. With the door open before them, the companions wasted no time in seizing the opportunity. They exchanged glances of determination before plunging into the depths of the tunnel, their resolve unshaken as they ventured deeper into the heart of the Bulldog's lair. Chapter 32, Into the Depths. As the companions stepped through the open doorway, they found themselves descending into the depths of the earth via a narrow stairway. The air grew cooler as they descended, the sound of their footsteps echoing in the dimly lit space. Emerging from the stairway, they entered a vast underground base, its sprawling corridors stretching out before them like a labyrinth of secrets waiting to be uncovered. They moved cautiously, their senses alert for any sign of danger lurking in the shadows. "Where are the Bulldogs?" Kit's voice broke the silence, his words echoing through the empty corridors. "That doesn't matter now," Argo replied, his tone firm with resolve. "Our priority is to find the map to the Yulamacords and get out of here before King Ben's forces catch wind of our presence." "Maybe we can blow up their base while we're at it," Jet added, a mischievous glint in his eye. His suggestion was met with laughter from the group, a brief moment of levity amidst the tension of their mission. But their focus quickly returned as they pressed on, their footsteps echoing through the silent halls as they moved ever closer to their goal. With each step forward, the companions drew nearer to the heart of the Bulldog's stronghold, their determination unyielding as they braved the dangers that lay ahead. For they knew that the fate of Pugland hung in the balance, and they would stop at nothing to ensure its safety and security. Chapter 33, In the Shadows. The companions moved stealthily through the labyrinthine corridors of the Bulldog's underground base, their senses sharp and their movements calculated as they navigated the shadows. They encountered locked doors and security checkpoints along the way, but with Argo's guidance, they managed to bypass them without alerting the enemy. As they crept through the dimly lit hallways, they stumbled upon various rooms and chambers, each holding its own secrets and dangers. They encountered storage rooms filled with crates of supplies, laboratories brimming with bubbling vials and arcane machinery, and barracks where bulldogs rested in uneasy slumber. Their progress was slow but steady, each member of the Order of the Pug remaining vigilant as they searched for the elusive map to the Yulamacords. They encountered no sign of King Ben or his minions, but the sense of impending danger hung heavy in the air, a constant reminder of the stakes of their mission. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of creeping through the shadows, they reached their destination, a nondescript chamber tucked away at the end of a long hallway. Within its confines lay the object of their quest, the map to the Yulamacords. As they approached the map, their hands outstretched to claim their prize, a chilling voice echoed through the chamber, freezing them in their tracks. Well, what do we have here?" King Ben's voice rang out from behind them, dripping with malice and contempt. The companions turned slowly, their hearts pounding in their chests as they faced their nemesis once more. King Ben stood before them, a malevolent grin twisting his features as he surveyed the intruders in his domain. With the map to the Yulamacords within their grasp and King Ben bearing down upon them, the Order of the Pug braced themselves for an intense battle, knowing that the fate of Pugland hung in the balance. Chapter 34, The Trap Revealed. "I see you found the emergency bunker we turned into our base," King Ben sneered, his eyes glinting with malicious amusement as he surveyed the intruders before him. A chill swept through the chamber as Argo realized the truth. "Ah. Of course, I should have known. It was a trap," he exclaimed, his voice laced with frustration. "So that's why there were no bulldogs," Kit remarked, her expression darkening with realization. King Ben's grin widened at their comprehension. "I admire your courage for making it this far. But now I'm afraid I need to get you out of my way," he declared, his tone dripping with menace. Panic surged through Jack as he realized the gravity of their situation. Oh no, he muttered, his voice trembling with fear. "I am way too young to be killed by a walking bulldog. We're not gonna let this stand. We're gonna fight for our lives." Zeke yelled, his voice filled with determination. King Ben scoffed at their defiance.
"What?"
"You fools," he spat, his eyes ablaze with fury. With those words, a massive battle erupted, the clash of steel and magic reverberating through the chamber. Each member of the Order of the Pug fought with everything they had, their movements swift and precise as they clashed with King Ben's forces. Max lunged forward, his sword flashing in the dim light as he engaged a group of bulldogs in fierce combat. With each swing, he carved a path through their ranks, his determination unwavering. Jet and Zeke fought side by side, their skill with weapons honed through years of training as they faced off against their adversaries. Their strikes were swift and deadly, each blow finding its mark as they sought to drive back the enemy forces. Dave provided support from a distance, his bowstring singing as he unleashed a barrage of arrows upon the enemy. With each shot, he struck down bulldogs with deadly accuracy, his aim true and unwavering. But King Ben was a formidable opponent, his dark magic swirling around him like a cloak of shadow. With each incantation, he unleashed waves of destruction upon his adversaries, his eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction. As the battle raged on, the fate of Pugland hung in the balance, the outcome uncertain as the forces of good and evil clashed in a struggle for dominance. But the members of the Order of the Pug fought on, their resolve unshaken as they stood against the tyranny of King Ben and his bulldog army. Chapter 35, The Last Resort. As the battle raged on, Argo's mind raced with possibilities. Amidst the chaos, he spotted a fuse box tucked away in a corner, its warning label glaring ominously in the dim light. Without hesitation, he seized a nearby sword and plunged it into the box, ignoring the warnings. With deft hands, Argo inserted a round, technical-looking device into the fuse box, his movements swift and purposeful. Sparks of electricity danced around him as he worked, the air crackling with energy. "Get ready to run," Argo shouted, his voice cutting through the cacophony of battle. The fuse box erupted in a blinding explosion, sending shockwaves rippling through the chamber. The walls trembled as if possessed, and the ground beneath their feet quaked with fury. "What is happening?" Jet exclaimed, his breath ragged from exertion as he sprinted alongside his companions. "It's a device that can explode a whole base," Kit replied, her voice strained but determined. "Just keep running, and you'll be fine." With adrenaline coursing through their veins, the members of the Order of the Pug dashed through the crumbling corridors, their hearts pounding in their chests as they raced against time. Explosions rocked the passageways behind them, sending debris flying in all directions as they fought to outrun the destruction. Their lungs burned with exertion, their muscles strained to the breaking point, but still, they pressed on, their determination unwavering. Each step brought them closer to safety, each breath a testament to their resilience in the face of adversity. And as the last echoes of the explosions faded into the distance, the companions emerged from the crumbling ruins of the bulldog's base, battered but victorious. With their mission accomplished and their enemies vanquished, they turned their eyes to the horizon, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in the fight to protect Pugland from the forces of darkness. Chapter 36, Confrontation with King Ben. The companions sprinted down the crumbling corridors, their hearts pounding in their chests as they fled from the destruction behind them. But their respite was short-lived. Emerging from the wreckage, singed and furious, stood King Ben, his eyes ablaze with malice. "You'll pay," he snarled, his voice echoing through the chaos. With a surge of desperation, King Ben unleashed a powerful spell, his staff crackling with dark energy as he aimed it directly at Jet. The air hummed with tension as the lightning bolt hurtled towards its target, poised to strike with deadly force. His survival was uncertain as the deadly lightning crackled through the air. Chapter 37, Zeke's Revelation. As the deadly lightning bolt hurtled towards Jet, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. Zeke leaped into action, positioning himself directly in the path of the oncoming strike. But to everyone's astonishment, he remained unscathed, engulfed in a shimmering green flame that seemed to repel the darkness. "It's the crystals." Argo's voice rang out, his eyes widening in realization. "But more powerful." Zeke, his expression a mixture of determination and awe, channeled the energy of the crystals with unprecedented strength. The green flame danced around him, a shield forged from the very essence of Pugland itself. With a defiant roar, Zeke charged towards King Ben, his fists ablaze with newfound power. In a swift and decisive move, he delivered a powerful punch directly to King Ben's face, the force of the blow sending the tyrant reeling backwards. King Ben staggered, his arrogance shaken by the unexpected display of strength. For the first time, uncertainty flickered in his eyes as he faced the full might of Zeke's newfound abilities. The companions watched in awe as Zeke stood tall, his resolve unyielding in the face of adversity. With the power of the crystals coursing through him, he had become a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. And as King Ben recovered from the blow, his fury reignited with renewed intensity. The stage was set for a great showdown between good and evil in the heart of Pugland. Chapter 38, Unleashing the Trio's Power. As the dust settled from Zeke's powerful assault, Jet, feeling left out, exclaimed, "Hey, I want cool powers too." Zeke, still glowing slightly from the residual energy, turned to him and said, "Just think deeply about what you want and then push it out of you." Jet closed his eyes, focusing all his thoughts on the energy swirling within him. A warm glow began to envelop him, a brilliant yellow light that pulsed with his heartbeat. Beside him, Jack, inspired by his friends, also concentrated deeply. A cool blue aura, calm and steady, formed around him, illuminating the darkened chamber. "Now we're talking," Jack said, a grin spreading across his face. With their newfound powers, the trio faced King Ben, who sneered at their display. "You think these little tricks will stop me?" he scoffed, raising his staff for another attack. Zeke, now empowered and confident, took the lead. He dashed forward, the green flame enhancing his speed, leaving streaks of light as he moved. He feinted left then pivoted right, aiming a solid punch towards King Ben, who narrowly dodged. Jet, fueled by a fiery determination, extended his hands, releasing a wave of energy that took the form of blazing projectiles. Each shot was precise, forcing King Ben to focus on evading rather than attacking. Jack, with his calming blue aura, took a more strategic approach. He created barriers of energy, deflecting King Ben's counterattacks and providing cover for Zeke and Jet. With a flick of his wrist, he sent a concentrated beam of energy towards King Ben, hitting him squarely in the chest and pushing him back. The trio moved in sync, their powers complementing each other's moves. Zeke's agility, Jet's firepower, and Jack's defensive strategies formed an unbeatable combination. King Ben, overwhelmed by their coordinated assault, struggled to keep up, his spells becoming more erratic and less focused. As the battle raged on, the trio found their rhythm, their confidence growing with each successful strike. They were no longer just friends, they were a united force, each enhancing the other's strengths. King Ben, realizing the tide had turned against him, began to retreat, but the trio pressed on, determined to end his reign of terror once and for all. Chapter 39, The Turn of the Tide. As the trio's confidence surged, their coordinated attacks seemed to be overwhelming King Ben, his once formidable presence now appearing diminished under their relentless assault. The aura of invincibility that he carried was starting to crack, revealing a vulnerability they hadn't seen before. Each hit from Zeke, Jet, and Jack landed with more impact, their powers synchronizing perfectly to counter every move King Ben made. But just as victory seemed within grasp, King Ben, with a wicked smirk, chanted an ancient spell, targeting the source of their newfound strengths. A dark energy wave emitted from his staff, striking the crystals that powered their abilities. Instantly, the vibrant glows surrounding Zeke, Jet, and Jack flickered and died, their powers drained as the crystals became dull. In the sudden confusion, Argo, who had kept his distance, seized the moment. He dashed towards King Ben, slipping through his guard to snatch the Yulamacords map clutched in his hand. With the map secured, Argo signaled to the others, "Run." As they retreated down the hallway, King Ben recovered from the brief scuffle, roaring in fury, "You just don't know when to give up, do you?" His voice echoed menacingly through the corridors. A promise of retribution. Amidst their escape, Argo leaned toward Zeke, his voice low but urgent. "King Ben's probably going to catch up, so I'm going to throw the map into a random room. He mustn't get it. You need to go back and retrieve it, okay?" Understanding the gravity of the task, Zeke nodded, "Okay." With a swift motion, Argo tossed the map through an open doorway, hoping against hope that King Ben hadn't noticed their slight detour. As the map disappeared into the shadows of the unknown room, the group pushed forward without Zeke, their resolve hardening. They knew the risks, but the fate of their quest and possibly the world depended on their cunning and courage. Warning *: this chapter may be scary for younger readers. Chapter 40, Confrontation in the Darkness. Their breaths ragged, hearts pounding, the group continued to flee through the labyrinthine corridors of the underground base. Each step echoed with the urgency of their mission, their determination unyielding despite the looming threat behind them. Suddenly, they reached a familiar part of the base, the remnants of their previous destruction scattered across the floor like twisted relics of a forgotten battle. Dread washed over them as they realized they had circled back into the heart of danger. With a sinking feeling, they turned to see King Ben emerging from the shadows, his sinister presence casting a pall over the dimly lit chamber. "It is too late. I already have the map," King Ben taunted, his voice dripping with malice. "Wait, no. Where did you put it?" King Ben demanded, his voice tinged with desperation. "That's for you to find out," Argo retorted defiantly, his eyes flashing with determination. Well, it seems I'll have to force it out of you," King Ben sneered, his gaze fixing on Jack. With a swift motion, he seized Jack, the young boy's cries of protest drowned out by the rumble of the bass. "You see your little friend here," King Ben taunted, his grip tightening on Jack's arm. A surge of magic crackled around him, eliciting a cry of pain from Jack as he struggled against the invisible force. Reacting swiftly, Argo darted forward, his hand finding purchase on a staff discarded on the ground. With a fierce determination, he swung the makeshift weapon at King Ben, catching him off guard and sending him staggering backward into a nearby corner. Not seeing King Ben, Zeke rushed forward, his eyes fixed on the Yulamacords map. "Guys, I got the map," he exclaimed, relief flooding his voice. But as Zeke turned to face his companions, a shadow fell over him. With a malevolent grin, King Ben reached for a sword discarded on the floor, his movements slow and deliberate. Panic surged through the group as they realized the danger lurking behind Zeke. "Wait! Zeke, no!" Jet shouted, his voice echoing through the chamber in a desperate plea. But it was too late. With a swift motion, King Ben pulled back the sword, his intentions clear as he closed in on his unsuspecting prey. In the chilling silence that followed, the air thick with shock and disbelief, King Ben's sinister laughter echoed through the chamber. With a swift and calculated motion, he moved his sword forward, piercing through the air with deadly intent. All at once, their faces paled in horror as the unthinkable unfolded before their eyes. Zeke's gaze fell to his chest, where the cold steel of King Ben's blade protruded, a grim testament to the cruelty of their adversary. Zeke stammered, his voice choked with shock. With a callous tug, King Ben withdrew the sword, leaving Zeke crumpled on the ground, unconscious and gravely wounded. "No!" Jet's anguished cry filled the chamber, his heartrending plea echoing off the walls. He lunged forward, desperate to reach his fallen friend, but strong arms from the pugs held him back, his futile struggles stifled by their restraint. "No!" Jet's voice cracked with raw emotion as he broke free from their grasp, his resolve unyielding. With tears streaming down his face, he knelt beside Zeke, his hands trembling as he reached out to his friend. "Zeke," he muttered shakily, his voice barely above a whisper, the weight of their shared ordeal pressing down on him like a crushing weight. But before Jet could process the full extent of their tragedy, his attention was forcibly diverted. With a cold and calculated gesture, King Ben unleashed his dark magic, a swirling vortex of energy materializing before them. "It's time for you to go back to where you came from," King Ben sneered, his voice dripping with malice. In a whirlwind of chaos, Jet and Jack were swept up in the maelstrom, their cries of protest drowned out by the roar of the portal's power. "No! Wait!" Jack's desperate plea fell on deaf ears as they were hurled through the portal, hurtling back to Earth with dizzying speed. As they crashed onto the familiar ground of their world, Jet's heart constricted with grief and despair. Zeke! Zeke! No! He screamed into the void, his voice raw with anguish. But even amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope remained. It's okay, he whispered to himself, his words a fragile reassurance. We both know he's not dead. He's stronger than that. To be continued in Pugland 3.